Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तविंद। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तविंद। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तविंद। हरे कृष्ण।
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. So today is Sunday. It is 13th of July, and it is Shravana Masa, Shridhara Masa, Krishna Paksham, and 30th Tithi. So there are no Vaishnavans in the calendar. So we'll move into our daily Srimad Bhagavatam. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Hare Krishna. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, Buddha was speaking to Vidura and describing about himself and the conversations between Krishna and Buddha and where he is going and what he has heard from Krishna. So that is a beautiful pastime, and he mentioned that he is going to the Badrikashrama as per the instruction of Krishna, where Naranarayana Rishi, they have been performing tapasya for a very long period since beginning of their appearance in this universe, and then for the sake of the well-being of all the living entities. So likewise, Buddha was mentioning, Soham Taddarshanahalada Vyoga Artyutah Prabho Gamishe Daitam Tasya Badriyashrama Mandalam. Yatra Narayana Devo Narasya Bhagavan Rishihi Mrudativram Tapodhirgam Te Pate Loka Bhavanam. Yatra Narayana Devo Narasya Bhagavan Rishihi. Nara and Narayana, they both have got four-handed palms. Nara also have got four-handed palms. But Nara is in the golden complexion, Narayana is in the bluish complexion. Mrudativram Tapodhirgam. And they have been performing this tapasya for a very long time. For te pate loka bhavanam, for the well-being of all the living entities. So in such a way, Buddha has spoken to Vidura. Now, conversation is coming out to the next outer side layer. So this is Sukadeva Goswami speaking to Parikshit Maharaj. So now Buddha has spoken. So what Vidura's turn now? What Vidura is experiencing. After hearing from Uddhava, Vidura, with so much of losing of his family and friends about this Kauravas and Pandavas, and other side the Yadu families and everything, it is very difficult to bear that kind of news. It happens in our day-to-day life. Once our family members or relatives, if anyone is lost in the family, it is very difficult to counteract that kind of pain. But here, as soon as Buddha spoke, Vidura, by his intelligence, by his knowledge, and then he was able to deliver himself from the lamentation. You, so likewise, Sukadeva Goswami saying to Parikshit Maharaj. So this is just by hearing how one can, with his knowledge, coming out of the lamentation. That is the most important thing in our life. One is the Shoka, Moha, Bhaya. These three things, they will inflict our day-to-day life. But we cannot do anything. So once we have lost a friend or family member, lost is lost. We cannot rectify it. There is no need of lamenting. Of course, there is a lamentation, but by lamentation, one cannot achieve anything, just unless it is a shock to someone else that I'm lamenting. Apart from that, the internal pain that one is experiencing through, he cannot do anything. So only by the knowledge he can come out of the lamentation. And then illusion, whatever you think is the permanent, then you do not think that. Whatever is temporary, you think that one as the permanent. The body is permanent, family members are the permanent, enjoyment, home, and these are my children, they will hear me, they will follow my instructions. Even the parent says right thing, they do not accept it, but actually they are not actually his belongings. So this is kind of an illusion. Atmaja Stakar Pasudravina Bandashu. Once he thinks that Niruda Mola Pradaya Atmanam Bahumanyate, it is there so much of deep rooted desire that everything belongs to me. Because of that, he will go through so many problems in the life. That is uh, illusion, moha, and bhaya is the fearfulness. Fearfulness is it comes when we are in the insecure position, whether I'm going to die, whether I'm going to get an accident, whether my children are going to harm themselves, something like that, if they do not hear me. This is kind of fearfulness. In all such kind of shoka, moha, bhayaha. So by the knowledge one can deliver himself, but there sometimes he may not be able to rectify the situation, but he can overcome by the overcome with the knowledge he has acquired, that is transcendental knowledge, coming out of the materialistic problems. Here, Vidura, by as soon as he heard from Uddhava, though he was lamenting a little bit because of all his family and friends, he was able to deliver himself by the knowledge he has acquired. That is called intelligence. Okay, likewise, Parikshit, Sukadeva Goswami saying to Parikshit, how Vidura has come out of from the lamentation. We are in the Srimad Bhagavatam, third canto, fourth chapter, verse number 23. Shri Sukavacha, iti Uddhava, iti Uddhavadupakarnya, suhridam dussaham vadam, jnanin ashamayat chatta, shokam utpatitam buddha, iti Uddhavad, iti Uddhavadupakarnya. So, iti Uddhavadupakarnya. Iti Uddhavad. So, thus he has heard from Uddhava. Upakarnya, hearing. Iti Uddhavad Upakarnya. Uddhavad means whatever Uddhava has said. And Upakarnya, hearing from Uddhava. Suhrudam Dussaham Vadam. Suhrudam of friends and relatives. Dussaham, it is unbearable. Vadam, annihilation. So there, one side Kauravas and Pandavas killed each other. Again, Yadu family killed each other. So this is very unbearable news. Just within our family, one's father is grown up, and then his children are also grown up, and they're fighting for some kind of property or something which is insignificant. Then the father lags too much. Here, Vidura is on the like a kind of a father level to the Kauravas and Pandavas, and also here well-wisher of all the Yadus as well. It is very difficult. Dustaham vadam. Jnanena ashamayat chatta. Jnanena ashamayat. By transcendental knowledge, asamayat. He pacified himself. Chatta. Chatra is the Vidura. Chatta. Sokam utpatinam buddha. And whatever the bereavement arised, and he was able to overcome that kind of lamentation. Shokam utpatinam buddha. The lamentation or bereavement, it has arisen. Now, here, Uddhava is addressing as a Buddha. He is the learned person. Since his childhood, Vidura was very intelligent. And even Bhishma Deva and everyone and Dhritarashtra, everyone used to consult Vidura for the advices, either in the political matters or kind of dharma and all such kind of things. They used to consult Vidura. So, and now, later on, he has received the transcendent knowledge as well. And also from the Buddhava as well, he has heard again. Iti Buddhava Dupakarnya Suhridam Dussaham Vadam Jnanena Ashamayat Chatta Shokum Utpatam Buddha. It's a translation. Shri Sukadeva Goswami said, after hearing from Uddhava all about the annihilation of his friends and relatives, the learned Vidura pacified his overwhelming bereavement by dint of his transcendental knowledge. Purport by Srila Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada teacher. Okay, so can I request Javed Mataji if available to read the purport?
Krishna, Hare Krishna, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Vidura was informed that the result of the battle of Kurukshetra was the annihilation of his friends and relatives, as well as the destruction of the Yadu dynasty, and also the passing away of the Lord. All these hurled him into bereavement for the time being, but because he was highly advanced in transcendental knowledge, he was quite competent to pacify himself by enlightenment. As it is stated in Bhagavad Gita, due to our long association with bodily relationships, bereavement on account of the annihilation of friends and relatives is not at all astonishing, but one has to learn the art of subduing such bereavement with higher transcendental knowledge. The talks between Uddhava and Vidura on the topic of Krishna began at sunset, and Vidura was now further advanced in knowledge due to his association with Uddhava. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. So here in the purport, Vidura was informed that results of the battle of Kurukshetra was the annihilation of his friends and relatives, as well as the destruction of the Yadu dynasty and the passing away of the Lord. So when Vidura, he was wandering on his pilgrimage, knowing that, so just before the Kurukshetra battle, Duryodhana and he has asked Vidura just to leave, and then taking off all his possessions like the home and all property. So Vidura, so if he took that opportunity, he did not he did not lament, and then he left the home, and then he was going on the pilgrimage, and then by the time he was coming to the point where Prabhata Kshetra is there, by the time he has heard that um, Yudhishthira was ruling entire planet, and all the Kauravas and Pandavas, they kill each other. So there itself he understands that Kauravas and Pandavas are dead. Now, after that, he has gone to Yamuna river now in his pilgrimage further. And even though Krishna was there during that time in the Bharata, he did not go and see the Krishna. He thought himself that he was not yet purified, though he was a devotee of the Lord. So still he was on pilgrimage and come to the point where into the Yamuna river, banks of the Yamuna river, there he has met Uddhava and hearing everything from Uddhava later on. There are again so many days there were lapsed. Okay, so likewise, this is the point where Vidura is hearing again from Uddhava about the annihilation of the Yadus as well. Annihilation of the Yadus. So whenever this similar kind of news, when Yudhishthira has heard from Arjuna about annihilation of the Yadus, Arjuna was just kind of contemplating that Prayana Etat Bhagavata Yeshwarasya Vichestitam Mito Nigdhanti Bhutani Bhavayanti Cha Yadmitah. So, oh my dear king Yudhishthira, my dear elder brother Yudhishthira. So he was saying sometimes by the will of the Supreme Lord, people they protect each other like that. You are my friend, you are my child, you are my daughter, you are my son-in-law, you are my daughter-in-law, and you are my friend, close friend. Sometimes they protect, and in due course of time, there is small kinds of misunderstandings. Again, you do not hear me, so I do not take your instructions and I do not follow you. And also, you are my enemy. Once upon a time, it was a friend. Again, the same person, it became uh, enemy, friend and enemy. So sometimes one protect each other, sometimes one kill each other. Everything is mitonignanti bhutani bhavyanti cha yanmitaha. This is Yeshwarasya Vichestam. It is the arrangement of the Lord. One has to detach from this material world. He gives the opportunity. One who has, during that is the time, one has to get that transcendental knowledge. Why it is happening to me, even though I'm following the right instructions, but he does not understand that it is everything going on because of his past deeds, past karmic activities. Because I have done something, but I forgot. But later on, it is fructifying in now, even though I do not want this now. So I wanted to eat something, some kind of nice sweets when I was healthy, but I did not get at that point of time because of that desire. Now when I'm getting older and getting diabetes, I have got so many sweets are appearing in front of me. I cannot eat it. Desire is still there, but you cannot eat it. This is the problem. This is the illusion, material world. Dukkalayam ashashvatam. It is Ishwarasya Vijayasya. One has to get this Jnana Vairagya Jnanena Vairagya Vijrumbitena. Asevayayam Prakritir Gnanam Jnanena Vairagya Vijrumbitena. Then only Yogena Maya Apitayata Bhaktya Mam Pratyagatmanam Ihavarunde. One who has practiced this devotional service in this life, he will achieve that fearfulness in this life. Mam Pratyagatmanam Iha Varunde. That is called liberation while we are living. Liberation while we are living. So whatever is happening at this moment in and around our circumstances, it is for our knowledge and detachment. It is for our auspiciousness. Because we cannot rectify the situations in and around us. We can carry out our duty as much as possible. We no need to worry about anything. This is the Lord's instructions for us in all times and circumstances. Okay, so all this hurled him into bereavement for the time being, but because he was highly advanced in transcendental knowledge, he was quite competent to pacify himself by the enlightenment. Similarly, Arjuna was also very lamenting as soon as he has heard about Krishna's lamentation. So he was pacifying Deshakaladriktani Hruttapani Shamani cha Haranti Smarada Chittam Govinda Abhitani me. And because of his lamentation, immediately Govinda Abhitani me, remembering what Krishna has said to him during the Kurukshetra battle. Govinda Abhitarami. Then Haranti Smarata Chittam, his heart was attracted to hear, again remembering those instructions. These are Desha Kaladha Yuktani, Krutapani Shamanicha. They will relieve the heart from kind of tapatrayas. Tapa Shamanicha. It will subside all our lamentation. So in such a way, there Arjuna evam chintayetu jishnoho Krishnapada saroruham sauhadena atighadena santa asid vimalamati. Just remembering the lotus feet of the Lord, he feels himself completely relieved and santa asid vimalamati, completely peaceful, even though he knows that it was very this is dustaham vadam, and then he pacified himself. This knowledge of Vasudevangri and Dhyana Paribrahmita Bhakta Nirmalita Ashesha Kashai Dishinojjanaha. All this contamination, the heart is contaminated by lamentation, the fearfulness and illusion and all these things. Kashai Dishinojjanaha, it is removed just because of Bhakta Nirmatita Ashesha by the devotional service. Nirmatita Ashesha. So that too much of excessive devotional service. One has to carry out that devotional service. Then, and also remembering Geetam Bhagavata Jnanam Yattat Sangrava Muddhani Kala Karma Tamuruddham Punaha Adhikamat Prabhu. And then, as soon as you get that knowledge, Bhagavad Gita knowledge, Geetam Bhagavata Jnanam Yattat Sangrama Muddhani, where this knowledge was spoken, Sangrama. This is Kala Karma Tamuruddham. It is beyond the time, place, and circumstances. Then Punaha Adhikamat Prabhu, he will become the Lord of his senses. Punaha Adhikamat, Punar Adhikamat Prabhu. And then he will be able to rectify himself, come out of the lamentation. So likewise, this is the knowledge. So that is called enlightenment. And Vidura, he was quite competent to pacify himself by enlightenment. So why we are hearing all these things? Parikshit, he was quite competent to pacify himself with enlightenment. Arjuna was enlightened. Yudhishthira was enlightened. Vidura was enlightened. Buddha was enlightened. Maitreya Rishi was enlightened by the knowledge of Krishna. Whatever dharvam shakshat bhagavad pranitam. When we have got keep on hearing this Bhagavad Gita Bhagavatam from the devotees, we will be enlightened. We will come out of Shloka Moha Bhayapaha. So that is, we need to be quite competent to classify ourselves by the enlightenment. It is stated, as it is stated in Bhagavad Gita, due to our long association with bodily relationships, bereavement on account of annihilation of friends and relatives is not at all astonishing. But one who has to learn the art of subduing such bereavement with higher transcendental knowledge. So this is because things anyway they will happen. It is by kala karma gunadino dehoyam panchabhutikaha katam manyamsu gopayat sarpagrasto yataparam. Everyone are swallowed by the time serpent. Either it is a child or old people or young people, whether intelligent or unintelligent, whether rich or poor, everyone are swallowed. Either one day before or one day few days before or few days after. That is the only the difference. We cannot do anything, but we can subdue our lamentation and the illusions with the higher transcendental knowledge. Okay, the talks between Uddhava and Vidura on the topic of Krishna began at sunset, and Vidura was now further advanced in knowledge due to his association with Uddhava. So this is the devotees association. Satam prasangan mama veer samvido bhavanti hrutkana rasayana kataha tajjoshunad asu apavargavat Shraddha Ratihi Bhakti Anukramishyati. This is Apavargavatmani. Nishimya Pumsam Apavargavadhanam. So Iti Matuhu, this is a very beautiful shloka. Once again, Maitri Rishi says whenever Devhuti is inquiring from Kapila Bhagavan and understanding the mood of Devhuti to understand the transcendent knowledge, he mentions this one. This Apavargavadhanam, Nishimya Pumsam Apavargavadhanam. So that is, Devhuti was very interested to learn about the transcendent knowledge. So that comes when we have got the devotees association, everything. Okay, likewise, Prabhupada is describing here. So Uddhava and Vidura, they're discussing topics of Krishna. So Sukadeva Goswami saying to Parikshit Maharaj, Iti Uddhavad Upakanyam Suhridam Dustaham Vadam Jnanin Ashamayat Chatta Shokam Utpatitam Buddha. Okay, so that is from Srimad Bhagavatam. Srimad Bhagavatam keeps a visual motive Srila Prabhupada's daily letter. So today, letter to Garga Muni, September 25th, 1970, Calcutta. So can I request Meena Mataji to read this letter, please?
My dear Gargamuni Maharaj, please accept my blessing. I'm in due receipt of your letter dated September 12, 1970 and noted the content very, very carefully. I think you will remember that I call you not Gargamuni but the Gargamani. So whenever I require some money, I approach you and you were kind to pay me immediately. So please continue your capacity in this way to supply money to the society. That will please Krishna. I'm immediately in need of $250,000 somehow or other. Collect this money and both of you come here. We shall open a very gorgeous branch in Calcutta. Calcutta is my birthplace, so all of you as my disciple do something unique in Calcutta. That will be fitting service to your spiritual master. I hope this will meet you in good health and come here with the money as soon as possible. Your ever well wisher, ऐसी भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी प्रभुपाद श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय.
Thank you, Mataji. Can you take your points, Mataji, from this letter?
Yeah, so Prabhupada is saying, is writing Gargamuni this letter, and he was also mentioning that I will call you Gargamani. So like whenever Prabhupada got money or any, that he always provided that money. So he said, So, and then he's requesting 250,000 to provide that money, and also, and he also mentioning that Prabhupada was mentioning that he wants to open Gujas, like nice center in Calcutta, which is birthplace of Prabhupada, and this birthplace of Prabhupada. So he's just talking about that, about it, like, you know. So, and also he's saying that, like, you know, so he said, because you are my disciples, was do something unique, you know, for the spiritual master. And yeah, so he's just mentioning about regarding that. So yeah, something, yeah. So, like, you know, we always have to do the something about spiritual master, you know. So just requesting, there's something point here raised. And also said that giving this money will be please Krishna, like, you know, to supply money, which will be please Krishna. Yeah, Hare Krishna Lord.
Yes. Very wonderful. Thank you so much, Mataji. So here, Prabhupada was just when we are addressing the names of people sometimes, just changing tiny bit, little bit, and also adding the importance and the context, what is the activity of that one, money is required. So in that way, in such a way, it's addressing. Sometimes it is in our day-to-day experience. Sometimes our friends and they also used to call like that. Okay, thank you so much, Mataji. Gargamani to Gargamani. And also one point here. So, um, as a disciple, you need to do something for your spiritual master as a unique, something like the Prabhupada is stressing, and that will be fitting service to your spiritual master. Okay, so that is one takeaway point. Thank you so much, Mataji. Okay, so any other comments, dear devotees, from this letter? Okay, so that is from Srila Prabhupada's letter. And from the announcements point of view, so tomorrow again our week is starting, and next Sunday, not this Sunday, next Sunday, 28th of July, we are coming to Jagannath, London Jagannath Yatra. Okay, that is our upcoming event. And then from our Sangha perspective, from tomorrow, again, tomorrow is teaching soft law checking at 8 p.m. And Tuesday, it is teaching practice session with Meena Mataji. So on Tuesday. Okay, so again, our week is starting with all our spiritual activities. Okay, these are updates, usual updates from me. And dear devotees, if you have got any updates or any events or you want to share anything, kindly share on Krishna consciousness. Hare Krishna. Okay, so if there are no further updates, then we shall move into our Sunday's Ramayana part. So in the Ramayana, we have going through for quite bit of time on this one. So in the Ramayana, Bharata, he has contemplating, he has come to the forest where Ramchandra is there, and to take Ramchandra back, he has come to the Bharadwaja ashrama, speaking to Bharadwaja Muni, the great sage. He is we used to hear that Dronacharya also born out of Bharadwaja Rishi, and the Bharadwaja ashram we have gone to the Prayagadar, we have seen Bharadwaja's ashram. So here, Bharata, so he wanted to bring Ramchandra, Lakshmana, and Sita back to the Ayodhya. So, and then in that way, so he went along with Sumantra, Vasistha, and they went to the forest. And there he has met Guha. Later on, they have proceeded, and further they come to the Bharadwaja ashrama. So in the Bharadwaja Ashrama, there he has informed Bharadwaja, saying that um, about his intentions. Even Bharadwaja was also just saying to him that, "What are your intentions, O Bharata?" So likewise, and then Bharata is saying that, "Oh my dear sage, you know everything. I do not have any pinch of desire to rule over Ayodhya. I wanted to bring Ramchandra." So that is his he has mentioned, Bharata has mentioned, and then understanding Bharata's intensity and sincerity, Bharadwaj is saying, the all-knowing Bharadwaj smiled. He placed his hand upon Bharata's head, who sat before him weeping, and said, "I surely knew of your intention and spoke only to heighten your resolve, and indeed your fame. You are a worthy member of your royal line, O prince, and are always dedicated to the service of your elders. Your devotion to Rama is beyond doubt." So where we have stopped here. So Bharata means this is sacrifice. The brother of Ramchandra is Bharata means sacrifice. He has sacrificed all comforts. And just for the mistake that his mother has done a small mistake by the bad association. So here, now he is going through, but everything is happening by only for to heighten his fame. So to heighten your resolve and indeed your fame. That is Bharata. We are all Bharat Bhumite Haila Janma Sadha Kare. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, we are all Bharatas. We are meant for a higher purpose, not for eating, sleeping, and making, and like ordinary people. We are meant for higher purpose. We are meant for Ramchandra. We are meant for Krishna service. Okay, so likewise, Bharata's sincerity is appreciated by Bharadwaja Rishi. Okay, so we shall continue today. So further, can I request the devotees to take time? Usha Mataji, would you like to read the 4 paragraphs, Mataji?
Yes, Prabhu. The sage assured Bharata that he would point out Rama's whereabouts. He asked the prince to stay the night at his hermitage and leave the following morning. Bharata agreed, and the sage returned to his hermitage early. Astonished, Bharata said, "We have already received sufficient hospitality from you, kind sir.
Mataji,
As a forest dweller, you need only. Sorry, Prabhu, can you hear me?
just something, some breaks are coming.
Okay, okay, okay. Yeah, okay. Bharat agreed, and the sage. Hear me now, Prabhu?
Yes, Mataji.
Okay. And the sage then offered to feed the entire army. Astonished, Bharata said, "We have already received sufficient hospitality from you, kind sir. As a forest dweller, you need only offer simple fruits, and this you have done. My army is vast and occupies a huge area of land. If I brought them here, they would all but wreck this holy site." Bharadwaja laughed and replied, "Have your army brought here for forthwith? You should not doubt my ability to receive them, nor will they be on any trouble at all." Commanded by the sage, Bharata assented, sending back one of his men. He had the army approach the hermitage. As they moved slowly through the forest, Bharadwaj sat in meditation. By uttering Vedic mantras, he invoked the presence of the principal gods.
He then requested them to provide hospitality for the divine prince and his army. Seated in trance, the sage said within himself, "Let the sacred rivers bear to this region all kinds of celestial beverages. Let the moon god bring every sort of excellent cooked food. May the heavenly architect Vishwakarma create a subtle site for receiving the army. May Indra send all his apsaras along with the Gandharvas clans to entertain these troops."
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Thank you, Mataji. So here, this is a very beautiful part, how Bharata was received by Bharadwaja. And then, so Bharata was now in a composed position, and Bharadwaja Rishi is asking to stay in his ashrama during that night in his hermitage, and you can leave in the morning, following morning. And Bharata agreed, and then when it is a custom that if a guest comes and the host need to give, uh, host needs to feed and give some kind of uh, the facility. This is here Bharat agreed for that one, but Sage wanted to bring all of his companions. So Bharata has come, not only himself, he has come with all his entourage, all his soldiers and ministers and everyone accompanying Bharata. But here, when Bharata, he has asked all his entourage at the outside of the ashrama. It's very long, but he has come to the ashrama by his himself on his barefoot, leaving his shoes and his royal things. He came just like a uh, when we are approaching to the saintly person, how we need to go with humble mode. So likewise, Bharata approached the sage. And this Bharadwaja was very happy. And after hearing from Bharata, he says, "We have already received sufficient hospitality from you." So Bharata is saying, but here, if I bring all of my soldiers, and your holy place will be wrecked. And then Bharata was contemplating that one. So here, what they can offer, it is simple fruits and what you have done. As a forest dweller, you need only offer uh, simple fruits, and this you have done. My army is vast and occupies huge area of land. If I brought them here, they would. And then here, Bharadwaja laughed and smiled. So here, the sages they can do by their mantras. Your army, so he's saying that you should not doubt my ability to receive them, nor will there be any trouble at all. And then Bharata just immediately he did not doubt, and then he just sent a man to bring all of his entourage there. So they have slowly moved, and here Bharadwaja sat in the meditation, uttering Vedic mantras. He invoked the presence of the principal gods. He then requested them to provide hospitality for the divine prince and his army. This is very important. So here, whenever we are more children, we used to watch the movies and then the sages by chanting mantras. If something magical happened, we used to astonish as a children. This is what we like most. In this nowadays, many people want something like magically. They wanted to go to the sages or something like that, and they wanted to get those desires fulfilled magically. But here, the sages, they are not sense gratified. They do not use these mantras for the personal benefits. They used to use these mantras only for the pleasure of Vishnu. Yajnarde, uh, Yajnarde, only for the Yajna Purusha. And here, and also here, he wanted to utilize those things to the Bharata. Bharata is the servant of Ramachandra and also brother of Ramachandra. So there is no harm here. There is no sense gratification, and it is also in the service of Ramachandra only. So here he is requesting those principal demigods to provide the hospitality for the divine prince and his army. So he seated in trance and said within himself, "Let the sacred rivers bear to this region all kinds of celestial beverages. Let the moon god bring every sort of excellent cooked food. May the heavenly architect Vishwakarma create a suitable site for receiving the army. May Indra send all his apsaras along with the Gandharva clans to entertain these troops." See, this is the Brahmana, a sage who knows all these things, always meditating on the Lord, who has got immense sacrifice, immense austerities and powers. He can command the gods. That is the power of the Brahmanas. When we are performing some yajnas in the home, we call the expert learned Brahmanas to chant to utter the mantras. By the mantra power, the demigods are bound. They will come and sit in that altar, and then they whatever we are offering, the flower, patram samarpayami, pushpam samarpayami, likewise jalam samarpayami. So likewise they will receive it when the Brahmana is doing very properly. He will invite. So within that altar, first of all, he invites Vishnu first, and then later on all other demigods like the Indra, Surya, and Chandra, and all other demigods, Lord Shiva, Brahma, everyone. He invites them and then perform that pujas. So that is the power of mantras. One has to be, and also Brahmanas, they are always self-controlling. They do not do anything for personal sense gratification things. They do only for the pleasure of Vishnu. Because of that purity and the mantras they utter, those demigods are bound by the mantras and they come. Here, the power is in the purity. How purity is the force. Purity is the force. By the purity, the demigods are bound. Things would happen. And material nature, it would act. Material nature would act. So that proper, and that's why why we wanted to engage in Krishna consciousness. This is also purity. Parsham Shuddhasayah, Madharmo Guneretehi, Parsham Shuddhasayah, Purushasya Disabhyeti, Srutamatru Gunam Himam. Once we are purified, no more material desires, then things would manifest automatically according to desires of the Lord, and our desires will be aligning with the Lord. So we will become the Lord's servant eternally. Okay, so here Bhardwaj Rishi, he is invoking these mantras and then all kinds of hospitality for the Bharata and his entourage, for their food and then for their bed and their entertainment, singing and dancing like that by Gandharvas. Okay, so beautifully going on. Okay, we shall move on further. Can I request Jaive Mataji, if we can read 4 paragraphs, please, if you are available.
Sorry, Prabhuji, did you say anything?
Yes, Mataji, would you like to read 4 paragraphs if you are available?
Yes, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, yes. As Bharadwaj invoked various divine beings with perfectly pronounced Sanskrit hymns, they all appeared before him. A cool and delightfully fragrant breeze began to blow. Thick showers of flowers fell from the heavens, and the sound of celestial music was heard. As the Gandharvas sang and played upon veenas, hosts of apsaras danced. All of Bharata's entourage who had assembled at the hermitage felt their hearts moved by the exquisite sights and sounds seen and heard everywhere. Before everyone's eyes, the entire area around the hermitage changed wonderfully. For a radius of 40 miles, the ground became even, carpeted with soft blue grass. Numerous types of fruits trees sprang up, full of ripe fruits. Mangoes, guavas, peaches, melons, and innumerable other soft and hard fruits were seen. Alongside streams of crystal clear water stood large white mansions furnished with seats and coaches. A great palace appeared that looked like a white cloud and had a large arched doorway. Delicious food and drink were laid out in these spacious buildings. Do you want me to continue or stop here?
Continue, Mataji.
Okay. Oh, till there. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. With Bharadwaj's permission, Bharata entered the palace, which was adorned with countless flower garlands and sprinkled with scents. Seeing a golden throne, Bharata simply walked around it and sat on the seat next to it, surrounded by his chief ministers. Streams of sweetened milk and cream flowed past the palace. By Bharadwaj's mystic power, many trees in the hermitage came to life and began playing upon different musical instruments. Some of them assumed the form of dwarfs and began to move about in haste, serving Bharata and his army. All around there appeared thousands of golden vessels containing food of every description. Heaps of steaming white rice were seen, along with tanks filled with milk drinks and yogurt. Pots of honey and large jars filled with intoxicating drinks stood next to platters containing delicious sweetmeats. Thank you, Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. So we feel so much pleasing just by hearing the sounds. How this every description, which is so auspicious. Okay, this is what we wanted in day-to-day life. We wanted all kinds of facilities, but it is Gandharvana Guru Phantasmagoria, if we think of in this material world. Sometimes we may see occasionally in some kind of corporate companies, they may just do it for 1 hour, 2 hours of meeting arrangements, but it is not eternal. It is a temporary. Here, all kinds of arrangements, it is to serve Bharata and his entourage. So because they are engaged in the service of Ramachandra to bring Ramachandra back to Ayodhya. And it is temporary, though there are so many things, it is temporary only. And in the next day, everything will disappear. At the moment, the Bharata and all of their entourage will be pleased. And yes, they got an opportunity for, okay, so here, so everything is by Bharadwaj invoked various divine beings with perfectly pronounced Sanskrit hymns. This is important. In this age of Kali, do we have such kind of Brahmanas who utter the proper Sanskrit hymns? And if you see, there are some people, by uttering the mantras, you can just bring out the fire. We have recently also, we have seen some of the YouTube videos. One Brahmana was chanting when he was performing some puja by the mantra. He was just invoking the fire. So, and here, previously, it is not a astonishing. It is common for all the Brahmanas and sages. So they all appeared before him by the power of mantras. But in this age of Kali, only it is a Harinama Sankirtana. It is prescribed. Krishna Varnam Tusha Krishnam Samgopangasra Pashuram Yajnihi Sankirtana Prayihi Yajantihi Sumedasaha. So the Lord appears in the form in this age of Kali, along with all his associates, to spread the Sankirtana for the intelligent class of men, Sumedasaha. Okay, so moving into this Ramayana, a cool and delightful fragrant breeze began to blow. Thick showers of flowers fell from the heavens, and the sound of celestial music was heard. So it is so beautiful when we see in the spring in the United Kingdom, and everywhere the blossoming trees with all the pinkish flowers, yellowish flowers, different kinds of flowers. Now also we see sometimes bluish and like so many. It is so beautifully designed. People are working very hard for that one, but it is all by the physical man work. But here by the mantras. These thick showers of flowers fell from the heavens, and also music was heard. Gandharva sang and played upon the veena. So generally, whenever the Lord appears on the planet, so Gandharvas and Kinnaras and Apsaras, they sing and dance. And then all of the Bharata's entourage who had assembled at the hermitage felt their hearts moved by the exquisite sights and sounds seen and heard everywhere. And here one thing has within this one, in order to further whether it would attract Bharata's mind or not, it is one of kind of a Bharadwaja's that creation. Whether all these things would change the mind of Bharata like that. Okay, let us see what is going on here. So before everyone's eyes, entire area around Hermitage changed wonderfully, having all kinds of facilities. A radius of 40 miles, the ground became even and carpeted with soft blue grass. Numerous types of fruit trees sprang up full of ripe fruits, mangoes, guavas, peaches, melons, and innumerable other soft and hard fruits were seen. But nowadays we see all are trees without any fruits. Trees without fruits, and previously so many trees with all kinds of fruits, but we nowadays just only simply tree. Either there are two kinds of trees. One trees are the fruit bearing trees, fruits and flowers. Other trees, they are the environment friendly trees, like the people tree, ashwadha tree, likewise tamarind tree, and they give some kind of herbs and natural uh, eco-friendly or just nature-friendly tree. Of course, trees means every green means everything is natural, but here they will also help human society in one way or the more. They have to in a cooperation. Okay, so here we see all kinds of fruits and flowers, and then further, crystal clear water stood large white mansions furnished with seats and couches. Palaces appeared looked like a white cloud and had a large arched doorway. Delicious food and drink were laid out in spacious buildings. And then with Bharadwaja's permission, Bharata entered the palace which was adorned, and then seeing the golden throne, say looking at this, now Bharata simply walked around it and sat on the seat next to it, surrounded by his chief ministers. He did not sit on the throne, golden throne. That is very good point here. He is not attracted to sit on the thrones, and also he was not interested to take the kingdom of Ramchandra, Ayodhya. He doesn't want to be king of Ayodhya. He wanted to serve. And that's why he was situated in the Nandigrama, I think it is Nandigrama, which is outside of the Ayodhya. And there he has mated his hay. And he used to cook the food in the cow urine and eat and performing all the austerities like Ramachandra and Lakshmana they are doing in the forest. But here Bharata was doing in the Nandigrama and keeping the sandals of Ramachandra on the throne, and he is worshipping, and every day he used to report on the country's political matters to the sandals. He comes to that throne and then he speaks. He is not desired to sit on the throne. So here, this is going to be his future. Bharata simply walked around it and sat on the seat next to it, surrounded by his chief ministers. Okay, these are all comforts. So whenever Lord gives, in our day-to-day life for us, Lord gives so many kinds of opulences at one point of time. Then how we take those opulences in our life? It may not be lost for long. For some people, it may come for longer. But we need to be very equipoised with it. Just take one as much as needed, not to be taking puffed up. This is ahamama abhimanuttaihi kamalobadivihi malaihi vitam yada manushuddham adukam asukum samam. Ahamama abhimanuttaihi. One has to come out of this ahamama, everything belongs to me and I can enjoy. So that kind of thing. We need to come out of that one. Vitam yada manushuddham adukam asukum samam. Both equipoise both the pleasures and pains. And then again, descriptions of streamed of sweet milk cream flowed past that palace, and Bharadwaja's mystic power. And many trees in Hermitage came to life. Trees came to the life. And began playing upon different musical instruments. The trees are dancing. Sometimes we used to see this one in the movies. The trees are dancing. We used to think, oh, it is kind of imaginary thing. But here, on the power of Bharadwaja's mantra, these trees are dancing here, began playing upon different musical instruments. Okay, so upon them, some of them assumed the form of the dwarfs and began to move about in haste, serving Bharat and his army. So like short people, and then they're going serving all the people. We used to see this one in the movies, but we were imagining. But here we see every description comes from Raman. This is Valmiki Ramayana, as it is. All around there appeared thousands of golden vessels containing food of every description. Heaps of steaming white rice were seen. All the rice is wetted with the ghee and all kinds of herbs. Along with the tanks filled with milk, drinks, and yogurt, pots of honey, and large jars filled with intoxicating drinks stood next to platters containing delicious sweetmeats. Oh my God. Just by hearing, we feel our tummy is full, just by the sound itself. We don't need the physical things, but just by hearing, we feel so much of satisfaction. But this is the material things. But actually, Hare Krishna Mahamantra, we feel so much of happiness. This is transcendentally, spiritually. Okay, so these are all material sounds, but if these material sounds are connected to the Krishna service and Rama service, they will also become spiritual. We have got all facilities. This is Kaivalyameva Murtimat. Vaikuntha Loka, it contains all kinds of offerings, variegatedness, all birds, fruits, and flowers, tulsi, and people of, they have got so many airplanes. Wonder, this is the offerings of the Vaikuntha. It is variegatedness for in the service of Krishna. We make ourselves part of the Krishna service. But we do not have any desires to gratify our senses. But we also eat them and take part in that because it is Krishna service. Okay, so we shall move on. I will read just 2 paragraphs and then as long as this receivement of this hostage or homage to this hostage to Bharata by Bharadwaja, I shall read 2 paragraphs and then we'll end here. If the beautiful young maidens attended upon the soldiers, wishing them and massaging their feet and bodies with fragrant oils, the celestial damsels, all adorned in pure silk garments, served the men food on golden plates. Being maddened with pleasure, the troops laughed loudly and ran about in all directions. They praised Bharata and Rama again and again. This is very important. Even though they did not forget that everything is because of Ramachandra. Okay, and again, as they took part of every kind of enjoyable thing. Although they ate and drank huge amounts, they found that they were still not sated. So they are not satiated. Still they're enjoying. Their senses and minds became more and more enlivened, and they felt renewed and refreshed. Even the army's animals were carefully tended and given all kinds of food and drink by the celestial beings invoked by Bharadwaja. Even the animals were carefully tended. This is what happens when we have got, whenever there is a Sri Ramanami festivals and also Janmashtami festivals, during that, for example, for Sri Ramanami especially, we invite every people in a village. If it is happening in the village, then everyone come and make nice arrangements and prepare nice palatable dishes. And then even the cats, these dogs, this animal also come to eat. So the people, they feed them, carefully tend whatever they need it. Because it is Ramachandra, the festival is to please Ramachandra. Rama's service, it is transcendental. Okay, so likewise, everyone are treated nicely, and here all his troop, they're enjoying every kind of enjoyable thing. And then As the night ended, the troops saw before them numerous items of toiletry, pots of hot water, along with soaps and unguents in silver and wooden cases appeared. Combs, brushes, stalks, and shining mirrors were in abundance, as well as fresh clothes, shoes, and all kinds of ornaments. As the men bathed and put on their clothes and armor, the gods and apsaras left the hermitage and returned to the heavens. So this one, as the men bathed and put on their clothes and armor, the gods and apsaras left the hermitage and returned to the heavens. So that night is now past. So everyone are treated, each and every soldier of Bharata, so they were treated very nicely like that. And the army was astonished by the night's events, which seemed like a dream. They looked around at the hermitage, which had returned to its normal appearance. Everything had disappeared except for the celestial garlands strewn about, which, although crushed, were as fresh then as they had been at the beginning of the night. So this is one important thing. Everything looked back normal appearance, everything except for the celestial garlands strewn about. This one we have seen one of in Prabhupada's pastimes, Srila Prabhupada's pastimes. We used to hear from the devotees. Once Prabhupada was in his apartment, he was dancing in the over the night and with so much of ecstasy. And then Prabhupada was awake. In the next day morning, Prabhupada was speaking with one of his confidential uh, devotee or disciple. So that Krishna has come and he has given the garland, and Prabhupada was dancing like that. So that garland was with Prabhupada. Though Krishna was invisible later on, but he has personally appeared. Likewise, we have seen some of the Prabhupada's devotees. They are sharing this message throughout our WhatsApp groups. It is one of the Prabhupada's pastimes. And one of the another pastime with Ramachandra Kaviraja and his spiritual master, I think Srinivasa Acharya. So there, they used to sit in meditation and go to the Goloka Vrindavan in a transcendentally. There, in the form of the gopi. So once his spiritual master there, um, he went into the meditation. He did not come back. So at that time, his disciple, I think Ramchandra Kaviraja, so he came to his spiritual master's home, and he has heard from the spiritual master's wife that he has gone into the meditation, sitting here, and he did not come out into the outer consciousness. Please help. Then Ramchandra Kaviraja, so he sat in meditation, and for some time, and also he also gone into the Golokur down in the form of the gopis, as a gopi in the sense manjaris. So they were all manjaris, so unmarried young girls, and they were all servants of Radharani, servants of Lalita Devi. So there, Radharani, she has lost her ring in the pond. At the time, Lalita was mentioning this to one of the Sakis. The Sakis, like at the time, I think it is Srinivasa Acharya, like that. That is the in the form of Manjari, searching for that ring in the pond. And Ramchandra Kaviraja in the form of Manjari also. He also jumped into the pond and trying to find to help his spiritual master to find the ring. And then Ramchandra Kaviraja, he found that ring and then gave it to his spiritual master in the form of Manjaris. They were in the Manjari. And this Manjari gave that Manjari, Master Manjari, and he gave to the Lalita. Lalita gave it to Radharani. Radharani was very pleased, and Radharani has given some whatever the beetle, that tambola she was having, she has given that to Lalita Mata to give it to this Manjari. And likewise, they have brought that tambola along with them from the Gola Kurundavana. And then when they have come out into the outer consciousness in the form of Srinivasa Acharya and Ramachandra Kaviraj, and then he has got that one tambola tied up in that garment. And immediately they have seen that one, and then it was shared among themselves. So that one we could see some past times happens like that. So except for the celestial garlands strewn about, which all the crushed were as fresh then as they had been at the beginning of the night. So now again everything back to normal. Okay, so as the sun rose, Bharata went to Bharadwaja after sage's morning prayers. The prince bowed before him and asked his permission to leave. Bharadwaja blessed him and said, I trust you and your followers spend an enjoyable night. Please tell me if there is anything else I can do for you. Likewise, Bharadwaja Rishi is asking Bharata. Okay, so I stop here, and then we'll see how later Bharata thanked him for his hospitality and asked to be shown the way towards Rama's, but in the wood, Rama's hut in the woods. And then sage smiled and said, so there is a mountain some 20 miles from here named Chitrakuta, full of lovely caves and groves. On the northern side of the mountain, shaded by blossoming trees, flows the Mandakini river. There, by that river, you will find your two brothers, Mandakini river. Okay, so likewise, Bharadwaja mentions to Bharata, and then we shall continue this further story later. I think it seems it comes to an end. Okay, there is just only 4 paragraphs. Can I request Usha Mataji to read 2 paragraphs, please? And then we shall finish this chapter.
Yes, Hare Krishna. So Kaushalya and Sumitra got down from their chariot and fled from their planet.
Yes. Go ahead. Please.
From here, Bharata said.
Yes.
Okay. Bharata thanked him for
As
his
the sage spoke.
Are you reading, Mataji?
No, you are reading, but it's
Okay.
from As the sage.
Okay. As the sage spoke, Kaushalya and Sumitra got down from their chariot and clasped his feet. And they thanked him profusely as they anticipated seeing Ram. Kaikeyi also came to the sage and shamefully bowed before him, feeling guilty at heart. Looking at her with compassion, the sage asked Bharat, please tell me, who are these noble ladies? Bharata indicated Kaushalya, saying this goodly lady is the mother of the lion like Ram. Affected with grief, she is emaciated with fasting. Clinging to her arm is the celebrated Sumitra, the mother of Lakshmana and Satrughna, those two great heroes. Becoming angry, hissing like a cobra as he spoke, Bharata indicated Kaikeyi. This one here is my own mother, the wicked and vulgar Kaikeyi. It was by her intrigues that the great emperor Dasratha died from anguish, and the mighty Ram now resides in a lonely mountain ridge. Bharadwaja, who knew the plans of the gods and the divine arrangement of the Supreme Lord, said to Bharata, you should not censure your mother, O great prince. Do not think her guilty, for Ram's banishment will result in good to the entire universe. Indeed, it will bring happiness to the gods, demons, and rishis along with the whole, whole of creation. Bharata blushed deeply. He had been piercing his mother with angry looks and he felt rebuked by the sage. Unable to immediately subdued his anger. He averted his gaze and tried to assimilate Bharadwaj's instructions. He stood up and walked respectfully around the sage. Receiving his permission to leave, Bharat ordered the army to depart and mounted upon his chariot. Guha accompanied the two princes. As the huge mass of men moved off through the woods, they made a great noise, terrifying the deer and birds dwelling there. Slowly approaching the Chitrakoot mountain, they all thought only of Ram, longing to see him again. Hare Krishna. It's so beautiful, Prabhu, when we have read this.
Okay, so here, after Bharata has heard from Bharadwaja Rishi about whereabouts of Ramachandra, so this Chitrakuta mountain, Chitrakuta, that place is still we have got, I think our devotees have gone to Chitrakuta as well, which is full of lovely caves and groves on the northern side of that mountain, shaded by blossoming trees, flows the Mandakini river. There, that river, you will find these two brothers, and there, and then during that time, after Bharadwaj said, so here Kaushalya, Sumitra, Kaikeyi, these three godly ladies, but they're themselves in the white clothes. So they have come to Bharadwaj sage. The sage spoke to Kaushalya and Sumitra, got down from him, and clasped his feet. So clasped his feet. They thanked him profusely as they anticipated seeing Rama. Kaikeyi also came to the sage and shamefully bowed before him, feeling guilty at heart, looking at her with compassion. The sage asked Bharata, please tell me who are these noble ladies? Because generally we see the mothers, they will go to the saintly persons. This here, clasping this, so clasped his feet. Who are clasping? Kaushalya and Sumitra got down from the chariot and clasped his feet. Kaushalya and Sumitra, they are not ordinary. They are mothers of Rama and Lakshmana. So they're not ordinary mothers, but still they're holding the feet of a Bharadwaja sage. The sages are in our day-to-day life, we see the different kinds of people, transcendental people, the sages, the brahmanas, and also the devotees of Krishna. So the sages, they're always in the austerities and penances and meditations. And when as soon as one touches the feet of the sages or any person, immediately he is giving all of their sinful activities and then taking some of their pious activities. That's why sometimes if the person who is not competent enough to digest the sinful activities of a person who is holding the feet, then he will suffer more because of their sinful reactions. So here, but sages are competent enough. So they do not, sometimes some of our devotees, if someone is trying to hold the feet, they do not say, don't touch my feet, something like that. Because they cannot, if they cannot digest their other person's sinful activities, we should not allow them. So, but it is our custom without touching the feet. But sometimes we touch the feet of a spiritual master. By taking the permission of spiritual master, that this relationship between the disciple and spiritual master, it is unique. And the spiritual master gives the permission to the disciple because it is the relation is like that. Spiritual master means absorbing the sinful activities of a disciple. That's why a disciple can touch on the permission of spiritual master. He massages and he does everything, serve him. But if it is sometimes Brahmanas, the powerful Brahmanas, they will allow us to touch their feet because they are engaged in the service of the Lord. They will digest the sinful activities of a or karmic reactions of a person. So that is one thing to just to reflect here. But sometimes when we are progressing in a devotional service, but a father and mother can allow his children and family and his wife to touch his feet because it is a family. But in the outside, when we are trying to touch other people, we need to be very careful. First of all, whether it is required. Still, if we recognize that other person is transcendently competent and in the spiritual master level, but still we need to ask their permission. And if there is no chance to ask permission, we need to just offer humble obeisances without touching, little bit far away, and we offer our humble obeisances. Okay. So, but okay, we come back to here with the context. That is about touching the feet. So Prabhupada sometimes he used to say, when there was no chance for touching the, uh, um, there is no chance for stopping the disciples or some other people touching Prabhupada's feet. Immediately Prabhupada used to say, I also touch their feet. So likewise, Prabhupada used to say, but we do not allow karmic, the karmis to touch the feet of a devotees like that. We are also progressing. We do not know what kind of sinful activities they have engaged in. Okay, so that is very important point in devotional service. We see because Dandavat Pranam to my dear Prabhu Mataji, likewise we used to say, but we used to do that whenever we see and meet each other. So there is one thing to remember. And then further, Bharata is explaining who are these godly ladies. This is Kaushalya, the godly lady is the mother of lion like Rama, afflicted with grief, she emaciated with fasting, clinging to her arm is celebrated Sumitra. So they are just holy. Sumitra is holding the arm of Kaushalya. So mother of Lakshman and Shatrugna, those two great heroes. And then Bharata, they're coming to describe about his mother, indicating Kaikeyi. This one here is my own mother. So Bharata is not showing any respect to Kaikeyi here because of her wickedness to Ramachandra. During just, even she was used by the demigods. And actually the mantra contaminated the mind of Kaikeyi for one night. And then one night and the next day, everything has happened. And things have changed. And then for next couple of days, in couple of weeks time, uh, Dashrada has died, and then Bharata has come, Ramchandra has gone, everything has happened. Just approximately 6 to 2 months of time, now she is coming to the senses that whatever she has done is not right, and contemplating. Even her child is not accepting her. When Bharata was like that, Bharadwaj is saying, you should not censure your mother, O great prince. Do not think her guilty, for Rama's banishment will result in good to enter universe. Indeed, it will bring happiness to the gods, demons, and rishis, along with the whole of the creation. So here, what is Bharata to do and what is Bharata not to do? What is Kaikeyi to do? What Kaikeyi not to do? And here, again, the activity of Bharadwaja, what to do, what not to do, very important. Bharata is rebuking his mother is appropriate because she has done not right thing. That is his duty. And also, if he is, okay, this is my mother, she is very nice. And then like, if he explains, his character will be blasphemed later on. And coming to the Bharadwaja, hearing and understanding the both parties, he is now making the situation balance. That is his duty. Now here he understood Bharata, he understood Kaikeyi as well, and now he is pacifying. If Bharata would not have acted in another way, Bharadwaja would not have been happy with Bharata. So here, who is acting and how he is pacifying and balancing the situation, that is important here. Bharadwaja Rishi can do that. It happens when we are in the devotees association. Sometimes devotees they will be fluctuate in their day-to-day activities sometimes, and as immediately they come to the devotees association because of the instructions coming from the scriptures and they speak, it will balance their day-to-day activities, and then we will be pacified. So here Bharadwaja is mentioning that one. So whatever has happened, everything is for the good. So he's saying that Rama's banishment will result in good to the entire universe. Indeed, it will bring happiness to the gods, demons, and rishis, all the whole of the creation. So likewise, Bharadwaja Rishi is mentioning. But still, Bharata, he blushed deeply, but had been pleasing his mother with angry look. He felt rebuked by the sage, but still, Bharata, unable to immediately subdue his anger, he averted his gaze and tried to assimilate Bharadwaja's instructions. This is called Deshakala Dhripta Nikurtapani Shamanicha. Haranti Smarati Chettam Govinda Abhitanini. As soon as we get these high level instructions, we can control our mind, subdue our mind. And here Bharadwaja is like that. He is giving those instructions, and Bharata is now trying to assimilate those Bharadwaja's instructions. And he stood up and walked respectfully around the sage. Again, when we are going to the great people, walked around respectfully. Uh, so here, once the four Kumaras, when they went to Vaikuntha, when they're returning from Vaikuntha, they also took the pradakshina around the Lord. Bhagavantam parikramya paripratyanumanica pratijagmuhu kramidaha shamshamto vaishnavim shriyam. So glorifying the Lord and then take pradakshina. If you have got great people and you do the pradakshina, when Arjuna is battling in the, for example, in the meeting of Virata, so that when the Kauravas come and they take the cows, at that time Arjuna and Uttara, they went there and then defeated Kauravas. At that time, he was allowing Uttara Kumara, making him just move my chariot, making like a pradakshina to my spiritual master. Dronacharya is there. In such a way, you drive. And when in the Kurukshetra battle, he was also mentioning to Krishna, Krishna, so just you. But Krishna knows and understands very easily about the heart of Arjuna. So Krishna does automatically. So it's like going like a pradakshina to the spiritual master. And here in the sages, when we are near to sages, leaving from the sages, like walk respectfully around the sage. It is the respect. We just dakshina. And also when Kadam Prajapati was just speaking to Kapila Muni that, oh my dear Lord, I wanted to leave, just give me permission. And then Lord says to Kadma Prajapati, एवं समस्तेन कपिलेन प्रजापतिः दक्षिणीकृत्य तं प्रीतो वनमेव जगामः. And he also take prediction around the Lord and then he left the forest. This is Dakshini. So one has to take prediction around the great souls. That's like spiritual master. Receiving his permission to leave, Bharata ordered army to depart and mounted upon his chariot. And Guha accompanied the two princes as the huge mass of men moved off through the woods. They made a great noise, terrifying the deer and birds dwelling there. So slowly approaching the Chitrakuta mountain, they all thought only of Rama, longing to see him again. See, they're all desire. See, this is Ramayana. So the chapter name is of the um, so we shall bring Rama back. This is the mood of Bharata. Okay, with that one, chapter 4 is completed. Okay, so I request the devotees, if you have got any questions or you wanted to share anything on this one, Ramayana, or anything on Krishna consciousness, kindly ask or kindly share. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare
Yes,
Krishna, Mataji.
no, Prabhu, this is a very nice little that read that Bharata's mood and bring Rama back and how he's going, and then when like as you said, touching the feet, so like Kaikeyi and Sumitra, by touching the Bhardwaj feet. So when you see that big like a great soul, so it's good to touch and then give the obeisances to the Great person. It's so nice, Prabhu. So that's our realization.
Thank you, Mataji. Yes. So we got our devotee John here. June is it? Dear devotees, you have got anything to share or ask? Thank you for joining. And then would you like to introduce yourself if you like? Okay, so that's all right. Yes, so thank you so much, dear devotees. And if there are no further questions or sharings, then we shall conclude and continue with further chapter.
Mhm.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji.
Yes, you were just explaining so nicely, and then just going to meet Ram Prabhu.
Shri Mataji.
Yeah.
Have a nice day and have a pleasant day. Okay, once I can कृपा
Thank you, Prabhu.
सिंधु भावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः अनंत कोटि वैष्णववृंद की जय श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय हरे कृष्ण consciousness